In this video, we are going over PvP base locations, specifically micro base locations. These are going to be bases that are designed to be small, hard to find, and easy to protect to keep you alive in PvP. So let's talk about it. So the most important thing to realize with this map is that everybody spawns on the right side. So you have 5 spawn locations down the right side. So the massive amount of player bases are about midway to the right. Once you get into the snow region, there's a lot less bases. So a lot of these bases are going to push away from those heavily populated areas where you're going to get raided often. So this first base is an attempt to hide in the central forest. So we're going to use the hills and the rocks to keep us hidden. So to our right side, you're going to see that there's a NPC base right there. That's fine. They're well outside of our range. And then as we run up to here, this is where the actual base is. So behind this rock, you can see that no one can really see us from this direction. And then we have the hill blocking us from this. So you can build a micro base in this little rock nook right here, so long as no one else already has, depending on how old your server is. This is a spot that you're often going to find bases at. Obviously, air cover is a problem. There's not a lot of trees, so helicopters are going to find you, and helicopters are likely to fly over you. So this location is very centrally located, so it's in H9 south of you. If you go through this pass that's right here, you're going to see that there's a copper mine, and then there's an iron mine below that. On this side of the rocks as well, in G10, there's a chapel if you need a lot of talent books. This is going to be a higher tier loot than our other chapel, which is located at I10 below that iron mine. So there's a second iron mine and a second chapel, and then probably the best part about it is how close it is to a salt mine. So that salt mine north of you in I9 is right there, super easy to get to. However, as I sit here and say, hey, this base is close to salt, just remember that other people are going to be doing the exact same thing, right? Other people need that salt. So every time you go to the salt, the iron, the copper in PvP, you risk other teams being there as well. So just be ready to defend or to fight for that salt. And then I would also constantly check it because it has a cooldown. So once somebody mines it, you only have X amount of time until it respawns, and you want to be the first one there when it respawns. So this next spot is another location that's going to be in the central forest. So everything from the last place still applies. However, this one's going to be a little bit closer to the road, a little bit more south, and it has some interesting characteristics about it that we definitely want to talk about. So this one is a very small cave, and if you can get in there, you can build walls that go from the ground through the rock and completely encapsulate this. However, there's a really interesting thing that you can do with this that makes it very difficult for people to raid it while you're offline, and it's a very good one. So right now I'm building a territory flag. I'm going to put that in my inventory, and look at this. So you can actually hide this territory flag in the rocks above you, and then you can angle it at such a way to where you could still get to it. So I'm going to put it down right here, and then I'm going to open it up, and you're going to see that if I hit F, I can still open it, I can still get to it. And it makes it very difficult for people to destroy it because it has such a small hitbox now because most of it's inside the rock. So if you want to make an incredibly tiny base, this is a good spot for it right inside there. So this is our third PvP area. It's going to be farther to the south, still within the forested region, just south of the chapel, south of the iron mine. South of you, you can get through this little area right here. You can go down into that copper mine, so you're still close to iron and copper, which is really important for the mid game. And then you have the salt mine directly to the north if you needed it. So this area is in a nook in the rock. It's not in a cave like the other areas. It's off the beaten path. And everything else from the other areas still apply to this one. All that same stuff from earlier still applies, but it's not as well protected as the others. So let's move on. All right, on to our next one. Our next one is down in the desert. It's down to the south, and it's going to be in a pretty cool little location. So it's going to be nestled up in some rocks. I'm going to break down the defensive features here in a bit. Looking at the map, there's not a lot of great resources close, but this area is going to be a little bit more protected. So you're going to have to go get resources and then risk dying, but then come back to a safe base is the idea. So you have copper and up near that lake, and that lake's going to give you water if you need it. And then also along that lake, there's a massive amount of wood, so you can go up there and get a full inventory of wood, come back and be set for quite a bit. The backside of this area is going to be a cliff, so that's a straight drop into the water. There is no way up it, so that's going to be protected. It's going to minimize your defensive needs, so all your defensive needs are now going to be geared firing to the north outside of the cave, which is super great because now you only have to defend one area compared to other areas where you have to defend 360 degrees. This one you only have to defend to the north because that's the only way in other than aircraft. And aircraft are going to be less of a risk because no aircraft is going to just happen to fly over you. You're on the coast of the map and all the way to the south. Someone is going to have to go out of their way to fly over you compared to if you're in the middle of the map where they might just accidentally find you while they're flying around. So our next location is all the way on the west coast. So this one's going to be up in B10. You can see some of the resources around it. Pause it, take a look. It's going to be right next to this NPC base, and we're going to talk about some of the little perks of that and why that actually is a perk being near this base. Alright, so the biggest perk about this entire thing is that these NPCs, this base, is going to act like an alarm for you. Whenever they start shooting, you know people are coming, and then paired with that as well, those patrol sergeants that you saw flying up are super dangerous. Now, as we come around this base, you can see the general area it's in. It's pretty flat. Walking up to the cliff, it is a steep cliff straight into water. No one's going to be able to sneak up behind you right here. Once again, it's on the cliff side as well, which means it's on the coast. So helicopters are not going to fly over you in passing as much as they would if you were in the central part of the map. So it's going to reduce the risk of that again. So this next area is a very long trek, but it's all the way on the west side of the map in the A row, just about as far as you can get from the central spawn locations. And it's going to be on this coastline in this small maple forest region. Your best bet for this location is most likely to spawn all the way down at the bottom near the desert and traverse through the desert instead of going through the snow area. That's probably your best bet, putting down sleeping bags often to make sure that if someone kills you, you can get there. But once you get there, you're going to be in a very minimal risk location. Yes, the resources around it are not that great, but if you look, there's a way up right here. You can build your base along the cliffside under this, and it'll be super nice, super protected, and very, very hard to find. Because for people to see you, they're going to have to pretty much fly over you if you're under the cliffs, which means anybody inside of the map will not just happen to see you from a far distance away. So this is a very safe base location. However, now that this video is out, you might see more people try to do this. So there's some oil sands here, you can grab that. And then also, this is a very scenic region. It's very nice, there's very cute, there's some watermelons, there's a lot of chili in the maple forest. So not a bad location. On to our next spot. So into our next spot, this one is just going to be a nook and a rock. So you can build it up in here, keep it hidden, there's forest around you, and it's not going to be as easily found as some of the other places are. However, the resources in the region do lack in comparison to some of the other regions. But like I said before, you can be safe, have a safe base, but have to go risk your life to get resources, but know that your base will stay safe here. So this is just an idea, take it from what you will. There's also, along this cliff line, there's a bunch of other stuff like this that you could build other bases along this area. So not far from our last spot, here's another little spot. This one is on that northern peninsula all the way up at the corner of the map. So you're going to have less people up here most likely. However, you might have some people come up here just in their helicopters just to look around. But there are some really nice little secret spots that you can actually build under. So looking through the region, you can see there's plenty of wood, plenty of rocks. There's some good iron spawn here as well, random iron spawn. So this is going to be another one of those bases like before that you can actually build under the rock. So you can build under this to make it very difficult to see. Over here, you can actually crouch and go under this rock. So you could build a very tiny, minimalistic base right here. So you could put all your storage under here and hide it, but then put all your tables out in the open a little bit more, or maybe under that rock to the right. Lots of ideas here. I'd love to see if you build a base here, go to my channel, go to my Discord link, and then post your pictures of your base. I really want to see what y'all come up with. So under here, do not place your bedroll. This is a terrible idea. You won't be able to spawn because your person can't fit. So don't do bedrolls, but do storage chests. Do put those storage chests under there. It's a really good spot for them. Still up in the north, still up in that same region, a little bit south of where we were, kind of around the curve of the mountain, but this is going to be a really nice rock to build your base inside of and to hide it. So this is it right here. So this is a good spot looking around the region. There's some iron, there's some copper here as well. There's mines that are close. There's that oil field. So this is not terrible. It's a decent spot. Once again, it's out of the main population area, so you're going to be a little bit safer. And guys, this is our last spot. If this helped at all, or if you build any bases at any of these places I put, please go to my Discord, drop pictures. I'm really trying to build a community there. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube to stay updated with my new content, and follow along from Off Duty Gaming. And then lastly, drop us a comment on this video, and what do you want to see next from Off Duty Gaming?